1 मिनट लगेगा लाइव जाने में.
Yeah.
All right, so we are live here. So hello ma'am. So hi guys, so sorry for starting late. So we have with us Dikshit ma'am. So I couldn't find a better expert than you ma'am to talk about this topic, MMS versus PGDM versus MBA versus कितने कोर्सेज खुल गए हैं. तो मैम आज हमें आप प्लीज डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन करेंगे कि क्या क्या है क्या क्या नहीं होता है. So thank you very much first of all for coming and joining us. And मैम तो पहले I'll start with the first जो मेरे को लगता है कि MBA और MBA and PG में जो फर्क है वो है डिग्री और डिप्लोमा का. So if you ask my parent ना वो बोलेंगे अरे डिप्लोमा who does डिप्लोमा डिग्री होती है because there's a mindset which is there.
Yeah.
So what is your take on that from a technical side? Okay, what is the difference between PGDM versus master's program?
Okay, your PGDM is primarily given by the is an award given by the All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, which is the Government of India body, and it's a national body. Okay. Whereas your MBA, okay, would be given by a state university.
Okay.
So it could, in different states, they award an MBA. In Maharashtra state, they award an MMS, which is under Mumbai University.
Okay.
So if you go to some other university in Maharashtra state, you'll find, or rather if you come to Mumbai, they will get an MMS, Master in Management Studies.
Okay. So if I kind of summarize, so master सब एक ही बात है. If you go for MS, you go for MBA, it's just a name. I think even IIT Bombay give MS, not even MBA, MS. So
MS is an international, internationally known, what you call title for that matter. MS is something which is done in a more functional domain. So you would do an MS in finance, and usually it is something which was followed more internationally. And usually an MS course is a 1 year or a MS program is a 1 year program conducted by international universities outside. It was not so popular as far as the title goes here in India. But now if you go to see a lot, like you said, people are offering an MS. So I want to say something, over here, which is more than understanding what is the name of this degree. And, probably, yes, you're right that you should know what each one of them means. What you should be looking at is what each of them is capable of doing for you. So, for example, if a Wellinkar, an SP Jain, NM, or an NM, of course, is now a university. Until some time back, KG Somaya, all of these people used to give PGDM programs. And these were all recognized by the All India Council for Technical Education. And these are all 2-year full-time face-to-face programs until the COVID struck us. But what is important is, what do people after completing this program get an opportunity to do, and what is your goal? So a few days back, I met the son of a farmer. He's a very large farmer in Maharashtra from Satara. And his son wants to do an MBA, and he wants to do it from Kolhapur University. And he's a bright student. So somebody would have told him, why are you doing it from Kolhapur? You should do it from one of the top institutions or whatever. But the question there to be asked is, what do you want to do after doing this MBA? He said, I want to grow my farm business. So how does it then matter whether he does it from, he really is interested in understanding the tenets of management. He's not interested in a job placement with a Google or a Facebook. But for somebody else, where working in some of the leading organizations is the goal, then perhaps you will want to choose places where, these kind of opportunities are higher. As far as the program is concerned, now if you look at most of the leading corporates, whether it is TCS or take any of the ITES sectors, they have started their own platforms for recruiting across programs and across campuses. So what does this mean? It is what you're able to deliver that matters.
Super. Now we go into the more detail about this as we go along. So मेरे पास जो पहला question है is my first question is very simple कि can I go abroad?
If you have a passport, you can go abroad.
No problem. After doing PGDM or PGP, now, so what is the scenario now? Is because that's the first question I think people will ask me. Can I go abroad after my?
Of course, yes. You can go abroad to study. I believe what you're saying is, can I go abroad and pursue higher studies? The answer to that question is yes, very much so. The All India Council for Technical Education or your state level universities are all statutory bodies. And when you apply anywhere abroad, what they are going to ask you is who has recognized you. And secondly, they are going to ask you for your syllabus and curriculum and what you have done in your 2-year full-time program. So one of my students from the PGDM program, she has gone and done a sustainability program from University of Columbia. Okay. So, and she got certain waivers from her in her program, because she had taken up certain management courses when she did her PGDM over here. So it is really how you represent what are the courses you have taken and what is the connection it has with what you're going to do. So for example, if you go abroad and suddenly you want to do a master's program in artificial intelligence, and so far you have not done anything related to artificial intelligence in your programs over here, then they are certainly not going to give you weightage for whatever program you may have done. Okay, so it is not only about can I go abroad and study. What matters is what have you done and is there anything that can be mapped. And unlike Indian programs where you pay the tuition fee for the whole program, internationally you pay tuition fees for the whole program, yes, but also per course. So if there are 20 subjects or 20 courses, as we may call it, you get to choose which are the courses you're going to take and you pay per course. Okay. Right. So if you get a waiver on any of the subjects, you do save some money.
Exactly, right. So do I need any conversion certificate for that kind of a thing? That your MBA is equivalent to MMS, equivalent to PGDM? Is there any?
So every country and different countries, there are various internationally recognized bodies also which are there, which look at your degrees online. I mean, you have to submit all your details online and they would look at it and they would tell you. Every university and see, every country and every university has a different rule. Like I said, this particular student of mine went to UCLA and University of Columbia. And there's somebody who's gone to Australia. There is somebody else who has gone to Sweden. So it all depends on what that university is looking for. Some of the universities ask you for your credits and ask you for the details. Some others will refer you to an online body which converts these kind of degrees. For example, in India, you have AIU, which is Association of International Universities. So somebody who has studied abroad and wants to pursue higher studies over here, they have to give an equivalent certificate for which they have to provide all their details to AIU, and they will say, yes, this is equivalent to a bachelor's or it is equivalent to a master's so-and-so here in India, and therefore you are eligible to apply. That's all it is. It's an eligibility certificate.
Okay, superb. So that is the important part. So that is kind of a compulsory. You can get that if you're even from PGDM or if from MBA. I think
absolutely.
From MS also we need to take the certificate in that case because MBA is not an MBA. Yeah. So everyone needs to take.
Yes, absolutely. Even MMS, when students want to go abroad for further studies, they ask for a transcript. They ask for description on what they are doing, etc. So it is all what you call programmed if there is a new program which tomorrow gets added, let us say tomorrow if there is a master's in machine learning that comes up from a particular college or a university, it's not already listed with the other university, right? So your university or your institution has to take the effort to educate the opposite person. I can tell you that I have done my PGDM from Wellinger, and my batchmates, so it's like as old as maybe 20 years back, have gone to all the countries that you can imagine, and they have pursued their masters or their even careers abroad. So it's really about how you present your work and talk to the university. A lot of UK based universities do now, not most of them take GMAT, but if you're looking at international higher level universities, they ask you for a GMAT score. Some of them do not ask. You can get a waiver if you already have a master's done before this. So every university has its different rules and regulations.
Superb, superb. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now my question to you is PhD ko leke, that whether I can do PhD, because for PhD you need a master's degree for that. So because a lot of students ask me, especially those who are not going to top colleges, they ask me this question कि can I do my PhD, क्योंकि job तो लगने वाला है नहीं छोटे मोटे college में. So if they go to very level 4, level 5 college, so what is the rule regarding that? Is there any rule that we cannot do PhD after doing our master's program, or sorry, after doing our PGP or PGDM program?
No. So there are two ways of looking at this. One is, of course, if you do your MMS and MBA, the university accepts it, whichever university you have done it from. Second, PGDM, when you do it, there are two things. One is you can check whether the particular program is, certified by AIU to be equivalent to masters. That is helpful. If you don't have that, you can give all your, there is an eligibility department kind of a thing in most of the universities. So just like you would submit your document, and you have to submit the letter which AICT gives you, AICT gives every college to say that, you have completed, this 2-year full-time program recognized by AICT, and in that particular year, your program was recognized. Every university can decide for themselves whether they want to accept or no. Yeah.
So while talking to you, I'm feeling that AICT is our motherboard kind of thing. So the mother company, if whatever decision are taken regarding all the aspect, if AICT approval hai, to matlab the college is good. The college, the degree is valid across the board.
So AICT gives you a letter to say that your program is, accredited. It is there on their website. Okay. If anybody insists that I want AIU, then you can also give your papers and, do it. Otherwise, the college has to give, and, the college will have to get an equivalence to master from AIU. So it works in many different ways, Ravneet. One shoe does not fit all situations.
There's no problem.
Well, but you know what? I somehow don't like this idea of somebody saying that we are from some small college, हमको job नहीं मिल रहा है तो हम PhD करेंगे. PhD करके क्या करेंगे उसके बाद? अगर if you are not employable, PhD करने के बाद आप क्या करना चाहेंगे?
So same problem will come at that time also.
Yeah, so I think it is not really about accumulating degrees. It is really about accumulating intellect to be worthwhile of being exchanged. So if you are just doing a PhD and then you decide to also work in some place, a lot of people then feel that, they have just wasted their time doing that. I think you should do something that is worth worth the time and effort, and that you really want to pursue it.
That's a very good thing. Either you join a good college, number one, or at least join any college and do good. At least look at.
Yeah, you have to be the best. So if how would somebody feel if they say, you know what, I'm not good at my studies, I am lazy, I am bored of life, and I am not so kicked about wanting to do that, go that extra mile. But hey, will you recruit me as a CEO of your company? Would you do that?
Yes, of course.
So why would anybody, why should anybody expect that? So I think it's really about putting yourself out and doing your best, irrespective of college. There are some bright students in some new or unknown colleges also. Yes, the number may be fewer, but certainly there are some bright sparks. We have heard of some of the best people in the industry who have studied in BMC schools. So I think it is a culmination of both personal effort and intent, as well as what the institution is able to provide you.
Ma'am, now I have a related question to this. This was my plan as well. कि कल को कुछ भी सब बंद हो गया, I can at least do my PhD and join any college for a teacher. So at least they can do that. They can become a teacher, because PhD degree holders, they need, colleges need PhD degree holders.
Yeah, PhD degree holders are needed by colleges, but it is not a degree that will help you keep your job. You may get it. But today's student is also smart, I think. And it is not the PhD degree that is delivering the lecture. It is the knowledge and the ability to hold a class and actually make them employable and deliver as good faculty that will help them keep their jobs. So that there is no such thing like the degree. For example, a lot of people also in the corporate world, they get a job, but how many of them are able to grow at the same speed as their batchmates? So all that depends on so many other factors. People who have graduated from the same college, from the same class, do they end up with the same salaries, the same day, the same organizations? No, it really depends on what they are doing with it.
True. Okay. Right. Next part is thoda fun fact I want to add. Okay, I was just looking at this thing. All of us, students, are preparing for MBA. They want to be an MBA.
Yeah,
but one of the Indian good B school is offering an MBA degree. FMS ko chhod do. If you leave FMS, if you leave this thing, Pune ka none of the top 20, top 30 government colleges are offering the MBA degree. They're offering a PGDM, or sorry, if you look at the IIMs, they're offering a PGP. तो वो तो डिग्री भी नहीं है, दिखाया तो it's a PGP program.
नहीं, but IIMs are now offering MBA, isn't it?
अभी स्टार्ट हुआ ना, वो तो अभी स्टार्ट हुआ लास्ट 2 साल में. अब तो looking at 5 years when I started my coaching institute, I realized that fun fact कि ये क्या हो रहा है यार, डिग्री है ही नहीं. तो what is the reason why they are not offering an MBA degree? Is it that government rule, or is it a fashion coming in today कि PGDM?
No, it is nothing like that. See, an MBA was provided by the government colleges. Because or I would say government colleges, university departments. Okay, for example, Jamnalal Bajaj is was a department of the University of Mumbai. Sidnam is a department of University of Mumbai, partly, right? So they therefore, for example, Bajaj is to give an MMS, or a state university department like Pumba, what you mentioned, they give an MBA. All right. Now, somebody who's not a university cannot confer a degree. That is a legal thing. They can confer a PGDM and they can get an equivalence.
Yes. So now, if I just summarize, जो अभी जब जितना आपने बोला कि the state universities or the deemed university like Narsi Monji हो गया, IIMs हो गया, they can give an MBA degree, master degree with the word M.
Yeah, if you're a university, why are you harping on this so much?
Yeah, I'm coming to the point now, because now I'm going to talk about the PGDM part.
Okay.
So because सबके मन में these technical terms have to be understood by students. क्योंकि उनको क्या लगता है कि masters मतलब हमें बस master चाहिए. मम्मी ने बोला है कि PGDM नहीं करेंगे, PG मतलब कुछ अलग हो जाता है. So master का program खत्म हो गया. It's just a government body. The university name आना चाहिए बस.
Correct.
PGDM part. So what is the difference between that part?
Between PGDM and
MS का masters का part.
So MMS or MBA is conferred by either a university or department of the university, which has the technical right to offer a M, as you call it, or masters.
Right.
All others are PGDM, they provide a PGDM and they are equivalent to masters as long as they get that, from a recruiter's point of view, there is no difference. Can you pursue your PhD? Yes, you can pursue your PhD. There might be certain technical requirements for a PGDM, like I already mentioned. So that depends from university to university. And as far as getting jobs are concerned, whether it is government jobs or whether it is corporate jobs, both these programs really don't make a difference. PGDM is also recognized by AICT, and AICT is the government of institution, India in body. It is not a autonomous, or rather it is not a private body. It is a government of India body.
Right. So there are two ways now. One, either you go via AICT to get your MBA, like V School or SPJN, or you can go through a university.
Yes.
So this is a basic difference between the two.
Yes. Yes.
Great. So, ma'am, half of things already know, but I'm just trying to clarify all these things from your.
No, I agree. Maybe it's every year there is a new lot and there are a lot of confusions. I appreciate the effort you're making to get them to understand this.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, now we talk about the curriculum. It's always said that PGDM curriculum is more advanced. So, one of the reasons which I could feel about that is that this is more autonomous. Like you can decide what is happening, changing in the environment. Like for example, if I give a simple example, this COVID changes. I think getting it added to a university curriculum will take another 5 years. Getting approval for everyone so that they can have a lecture or at least one talk about COVID. But when it comes to the PGDM, they can immediately implement that.
Right.
From the curriculum point of view, what is the difference between the MMS master's program and the PGDM program?
So I will only say that, the MMS, because it's just a moment.
एक बंद करना पड़ेगा एक चीज.
Yeah.
One of them you have to close because otherwise this echo will come. मैम फोन पे रखो, वो लैपटॉप का प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है. आप फोन पे रहो, फोन पे ठीक था, लैपटॉप को छोड़ दो.
Yeah, this is fine, right?
Yes, this is better.
Yeah. So because my mobile is okay, just give me a second. So my point is that most of the MMS programs, or as you call it, they are all under the university, and there are certain structures and boards before they make it when you're offering a particular degree or a program, what you're committed to doing is you have to offer the same kind of curriculum across. So whether it is a college in Mumbai or whether it is a college somewhere else, as long as you're offering the MMS, it has to be similar. And therefore, bringing about the structural change across, business schools becomes a time-consuming activity. It is one change that you have to make, and the syllabus has to be same for everybody. The number of credits has to be same for everybody. All that makes a huge difference. And therefore, it takes time. Whereas PGDM is at an institutional level. And therefore, the speed of getting any change done is much quicker.
Super, right, exactly. I'll give you another example. For example, if you look at this year, during the COVID time, all the private exams were happening on time. Private semi-government exam, CAT ho gaya, VAT ho gaya, SNAP, NMAT, all the exams happened almost on time.
Yeah.
The government-based exam, CMAT delayed by 30 days, IFT got delayed by 2 months. So CET का भी कुछ मालूम ही नहीं कि क्या date आएगा. So this is another example of the difference between the masters, MBA.
Yeah, I will not deride anybody. For example, Ravneet, if you have to make one change, since you're running so many centers, etc., if you had to make one change, which is, in 2 centers of yours, for example, All right. And if you had to make it across 200 centers and everything has to be exactly the same. All right. The standard has to be the same. It has to be fair to all the students. A student coming from, let us say, Patna, or a student coming from Bhubaneswar, they're all going to experience the same kind of difficulties, or rather different kind of difficulties, yet they have to be able to run it properly. Government is meant for reaching out to the last person in the line, and they have a very vast kind of control mechanism that they have to be sure is fair to everybody. So I will not deride anybody, and therefore I think for that matter, several even private institutions have delayed their processes, have increased the time frame. So this, what we have experienced in COVID, is completely uncertain, and how everybody has been able to gear up for it is different, and that is what has caused the difference, really.
Right. Super. Thank you, and thank you for that.
And I, as a student, I don't think all that should bother them. What they should be really focused on is, if the CAT is happening, do ace it. If you're giving the CMAT, do really good at it. Because whatever happens by the month of February or March or April at max, most of the offers are out. I think they should be focused on that, rather than whether some exam is getting delayed or not delayed, because that is something which will happen for everybody. It is not for one individual or a group of 100 people.
True. That makes sense. Okay, now ma'am, come my last question, and this is a question which I am bombarded with by everyone. I'll give my answer first, then you can add your answer to that.
Sure.
MMS अच्छा है कि PGDM अच्छा है? ये क्वेश्चन मुझे हर साल बच्चे जो दिमाग में डालते हैं ना, तो मैं, if you ask my thing, I depend on the college concept, किस college की बात कर रहे हो. If you compare JBIMS का MMS with a PGDM, of course JB better है. But if you're looking at, for example, if you compare with a V school का PGDM with a very another low level college, तो V school better है. इंडिया में अगर आपको MBA करना है, प्लेसमेंट चाहिए, तो you have to look at the brand name of the college. अभी TIS हो गया, TIS is not even MBA, they're giving a MA का degree, but that MA का degree have value. So go by the name of the college. Which college you are getting, that is more important. So ma'am, what is your take on that?
So I would say that whether it is PG or MMS, yes, one of the factors that you mentioned is certainly true. What is the reputation of the institution from where you are doing it? Okay, so it will change. For example, a student sometimes comes to me and, suppose, Ravneet, I ask you a counter question that I'm going to pay you 20 lakh salary, and you please join my startup. And let us say one of the top level companies of your choice, they say we will pay you 10 lakhs to join us. Which company will you join? So it is not a decision that you will take on the basis of one parameter, which is aaj kya salary mil rahi, right? You are going to look at, if you are a smart and if you're a real person and if you have really done your MBA, you will understand that it is multiple parameters which you will look at. If that, you will find out if it's a startup, who is funding that startup. You will find out the reputation of that startup. You will find out, if this person has started companies before, what has happened to those companies. And then if you're convinced, then perhaps you will join it. But let us say if you're a more what you call cautious person, and you think that, I better join a company which has been there for around 25 years and 10 lakhs is not a bad salary. I can always go back to the startup after 2-3 years of experience in a big company. If that is the approach you have, so it is each one to his or her own game. But I will certainly say that, yes, the quality of the institution, if it is something that you can find out more about the reputation, about how have they been performing in the last few years, talk to a few alumni, look at where they are headed in the future. If all the companies today are looking for how digitally savvy you are, has your institution instilled some idea of innovation or technology in their course, and there's nothing like that happening in that institution, then you'd say, okay, maybe they are very good today, but future ke liye I will reduce some points. So you have to take that call. even in your MBA, there are multiple specializations. Finance hai, operations hai, you have HR, and then you have IT, you have marketing. So you can figure out, what are the type of organizations which are supporting, or rather who come to this institution. Is that the space that you see yourself in? Is that where you want to be? So you have to answer multiple questions. So it's not about just answering one question, PG or MMS. It's not like a single parameter answer. You have to look at multiple things. Also, let us say if you are a student who comes, who has a good background, and if you don't have the financial backing at all to pay the fees for an institution, does the institute offer some kind of a support for students coming from weaker financial background? If they are good in what they are doing, then I would go for that institution. But otherwise, if you feel no, it is better to go for what you call an institute where the fees are low. The fees is what is going to decide whether I will choose X or Y. Then that is your call. So everybody has their own what you call parameters to choose from.
Superb.
And I think it's a multiplication factor. If something is very important, you should multiply with that. So if you think low fees is the most important thing for you, then you say everything given agar fees is more than 8 lakhs or 10 lakhs, I will not go here. Then I think it's decided. Eliminate kar lijiye.
Yes. Thank you.
But I hope most of the students here know what is the fees of the top tier institutions in this country. And all of them also promise, and most of them keep it, to say that students are not going to be turned away because they do not have the money. Yes, there might be some challenges, but if you are a good student in the top level of rank for that institution, most institutions will make an effort to help you out in some way or the other.
Superb. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am, are you comfortable? Because I have one more question left. If you're not
I'm very comfortable. Go on.
I think you're holding your phone. So if you
can faculty, so we stand for 3 years in the class.
आपका phone हाथ में शायद पकड़ा हुआ है, तो if you can keep it somewhere.
हाँ, कोई बात नहीं है, बोलिए आप.
No, God, I'm feeling very sorry.
No, I'm very comfortable. Please go ahead.
That's okay. Okay. 1 second. I think I did something wrong. 1 second. All right. So my next question is, this is another one common misconception that getting a government job will be very difficult after PGDM. तो मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ before I get your answer. I was talking to one of the dean of a college. He said, tell your students who are doing PGDM to do a part-time master's course from somewhere, from IGNOU or somewhere, because you need a master's degree for your government job. And he told in front of everyone, in front of all the students in that auditorium, that you have to do a master M आना चाहिए आपके लिए. So what do you want to say about that part?
I would say getting a government job is not an easy task, whether you have masters or whether you have PG.
Right. So, but do companies...
Because it is a demand-supply situation, and the demand is extremely high for whatever reasons, okay? And the supply is limited. Besides, let us not forget that any kind of government job or even government programs comes with its own limitations. There are, certain seats only which are there for open. All of that happens. So nothing is easy just because you have done your masters.
Right. But ऐसा नहीं है ना कि that PGDM को मौका नहीं मिलेगा, तो they can come.
ऐसा तो नहीं है, because several nationalized banks have taken, PGDM students also.
They started hiring MBAs also, right?
Yes.
From that point of view.
Yes.
Now, that's a one thing which I want to add here. Like, it's not like you only have to give a government exam to get into the PSU or the companies.
Now,
No,
that is all dependent on the type of PSU and what type of role they are recruiting for. So if you look for bank probationary exams, then IBPS conducts these banking exams which are there. And if it is a mandate that the bank has given, that you should have a certain you should have cleared a certain exam, so then you have to clear it.
Right.
We also have many people from Wellinger who are, in the administrative services, some of them. So they have given their exam and then cleared it. You can't say मैंने MBA कर लिया है तो मेरे को waiver दे दो. It doesn't work like that.
Super. So equal opportunity. Even if you are MBA, even if you are PGDM, so everyone equal.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to deny you doing the applying for the job because you are a PGDM or anything.
Now I have one question not related to this topic. Whenever government companies come to campus, do they differentiate for the open seats and reserved category, or they are open for everyone?
Because government. What do you mean by government companies? Give me an example.
Government, suppose GAIL, Indian Oil come to campus, so they hire for everyone. Is it all open seats, or they do have some reservation seats as well?
So whatever their norms are, they will follow that.
Norm ka follow. So reservation they will follow the norms. So they will.
Yeah, whatever, because if they are government, they have to follow government norms.
So perfect.
Whichever campus they go to. Yeah.
Right. This is something you want to know. All right, great, ma'am. I'm done with my part. Anything you'd like to add to the students, because everyone is now going through a very tense environment. Ke COVID hai, job lagega, placement hoega, kya hoega. So any last word you like to give?
I would like to say this. A lot of people who had jobs, faced a difficulty of having to lose their jobs. So when they lost their jobs, nobody looked at whether they are M masters or whether they are PG. What they looked at is, does this person add to my business, or right now it is not possible for me to keep this person with my organization. So it was the economics of the business that decided whether somebody stayed or did not stay. Government, certain policies which happened. For example, everybody knows about ByteDance, which got closed. It's one of the highly spoken topics trending on LinkedIn. Okay, and the company shut down in India on account of certain national policies which we have in place. Everybody in the company lost their jobs. So it is not, sometimes it is not in your hand. What they have gathered, though, is a lot of people on LinkedIn reaching out to them and telling them that the people working at ByteDance are extremely good. Please apply to us, and if we find an opening, we will absorb you. So that is the power of the quality of work that you are capable of creating. So this MP, all of this becomes really secondary. If that were not the case, you would not have so many dropouts who are running conglomerates today. So I would say focus on the right things. Don't focusing on, focus on where do your real opportunities lie. Where if you were to talk about PG and MMS, everybody does know that there are certain number of seats which are there in the open. So if you're a good student and, just assuming things is not going to change things. Take a look at the mandatory disclosure of the institute, find out what were the cutoffs last year, and mostly the population that is giving the exam is almost the same in terms of numbers. So cutoffs are not drastically going to go down, whether it is COVID or not COVID. So don't, lay your bet for the wrong reasons. Yeah, if whatever program you decide, that is really up to you. But I will say that your opportunities in the future are not going to be governed by only your first opening or, where you got it. There are a whole lot of opportunities that will open up only basis of what you're capable of delivering at your workplace. And that is going to be the norm, of the future. I want to very quickly give an example, Ravneet. I don't know whether we have time.
I have time. I'm feeling sorry for you.
No, not at all. So I had gone to one of the, I don't know how many students know this, but at one point in time when the Obama government was in power, a lot of government employees were asked to stay home for a certain time period in a particular city because the government did not have the funds to pay them salaries. And they said, we will call you back when we have the funds. So if you're joining the government services, which I think is a great job, but if you're joining it because you don't want to get fired, because you want to live a cushy life, or you think that it's easy, I would suggest go and actually see how real government employees, if you're talking at the top of the notch, how they function. There is no place for complacency in the corporate or in the government. And if you're an entrepreneur, I think Ravneet can tell you, you cannot be complacent.
True. Today competition everywhere. Everywhere is competition. Thank you, ma'am. If I just like to summarize everything in one line, आपका जो पूरी स्टोरी का हमारा आज का जो सार वो ये है कि भाई it's like someone asking me कि मैं इंटरव्यू में लाल रंग की शर्ट डालूं काली डालूं, and your answer is बेटा वो सब हटा, तू दिखता कैसा है या तू बोलता कैसा है या तेरा एप्टीट्यूड कैसा है, that is more important than all these things.
Yes.
Super.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Ravneet, and all the best to all the students. Focus on the right things.
Thank you.